We here now, mugga. We here now. Ain't no going back. I always knew I could do it. The stank chose me. These niggas, they can't hold me. I do it just like Kobe. Writer's block over. I got through it like Broly. NYC nigga, I moved like
Good day,
D'Antoni. Late
people. You
nights
already
doing
know.
push-ups.
Read,
Celebrating
remember,
life, 'cause ain't no
repeat.
more selling
How y'all
cook-up.
feeling, gang?
Finally at the
Today
age
is a
I
good
could
day,
really
man.
pick a book
Phenomenal
up.
day.
Don't confuse focusing on
I
my
lost somebody this week. And my lady lost somebody this week. So it's kind of iffy to stay positive, but in order for you not to have those anger and letting things lash out, you gotta still understand that you have to try to stay positive. I just want to be there for the people that I need to be there for, you know what I mean, and hope they can stay positive too during these trials and tribulations. Just want to give a moment of silence for the people that we lost and the people that y'all lost, and this thing, we don't never understand it, but just want to give a moment for that, man. Word. You already know, man. Sending y'all some good vibes today. Where we left off, you need to bend fair. Okay, here we go. Read, remember, repeat. You need to bend fear into moments of action at every opportunity, because the fearless not only recognize but also often reward one of their own. I entered Allah's gym as a chunky 12-year-old, the 150 pounds I was carrying making me seem older than I was. You ever heard the expression punching above your weight? Well, in that gym, I had to punch above my weight and age for my first day. There were no other kids my age in the program. So Allah understanding had me fight whoever was in my weight class, which usually meant opponents 4 to 5 years older than me. That might not seem like a big deal, but there's a massive difference between a 12-year-old and a 17-year-old. Those 17-year-olds were basically men, whereas I was still waiting on my balls to drop. I might have been in the same weight class, but I lacked their strength and maturity. It was intimidating as hell to step into the ring with those guys. I never gave in to that fear, mostly because Allah understanding refused to let me. One of the best things he and the other coaches did was refuse to coddle me. If an older boy hit me in the face while we were sparring, they didn't stop the proceedings and ask if I was okay. They were going to teach me to keep fighting no matter how scared or hurt I was. The lesson I learned from those ass whoopings would be twofold. First off, I learned that I could survive them. Yes, getting hit in the face wasn't pleasant. It would leave you disorientated. It would hurt. It might leave your eyes watering, but those blows didn't kill me. Hell, they didn't even knock me out. Once I realized I could absorb them and then keep moving forward, most of the fear I had felt evaporated. Second, and I'm forever indebted to Allah understanding for teaching me this. I learned that if I didn't like getting hit, then I need to do something about it. Keep your fucking hands up, he yelled if I let down my guard and my opponent tagged me. If my opponent started laying into me with body shots after trapping me in the corner, Allah will holler, get back into the center of the ring. Punishment, Allah understanding taught me, wasn't something I had to accept. I could always do something about it. They knew I was outsized and often overmatched, but they refused to coddle me. You ever see a kid fall down and scrape his knee? How he reacts largely depends on the parent's reaction. If the parents run over and worriedly ask, oh baby, are you okay? The kid is probably going to cry. But if the parent assesses the situation, figures the kid is fine, and doesn't ask if he's okay, the kid is just going to brush his knee off and get back to whatever game he was playing. That's the kind of parent Allah understanding was to me. He taught me to brush off being hit and get back to what I was doing. He wasn't being heartless. He was trying to condition me to brush off the inevitable blows life was going to rain down on me and keep moving forward to where I was trying to go instead of where I was being pushed. Once I learned not to be afraid of getting hit, I became a much better boxer. Instead of constantly staying on my heels, worried about what my opponent was going to do to me, I brought the fight to my opponent. I learned how to dictate the terms of the confrontation. If I lost, it wasn't because I've been backed into a corner and beaten down. It would be because I'd gone for what I wanted and had simply come up against someone with more skill. It's been a long time since I've gotten popped in the face inside the ring, but I've tried to keep that attitude in everything I do. I refuse to be afraid to take a punch. I know the blows are going to come, and some of them are going to stagger me, but I'll be able to take them. A lot of y'all are like the kid who fell off the scooter and waited for his mommy to come over and say, "Baby, are you alright?" Not me. When I fell off, I'm not waiting for a sympathetic word or someone to check in on me. I'm getting right back on my feet and continuing my journey. I've accepted that the punches are going to come in life, and some of them are going to land. But I'm always going to survive and keep fighting for the things I want. That has to be your attitude too. Deep, deep, deep. Facing fear head on. As I've said, my mother's death is what forced me to build up my immunity to fear. Learning how to get punched in the face only increased my insensitivity for a while. It seemed like fear might be an emotion I'd never have to deal with again. It wasn't to be the case though. Getting shot definitely reawakened that sensation in me. First and foremost, in the weeks that followed the incident, I found myself very afraid of the people who shot me. I knew that they were still out there, not very far away, and eager to finish the job they started. In addition to the emotional anxiety, the physical pain of getting shot also reacquainted me with fear. Not in the moment I got hit. The adrenaline stops you from feeling too much of that, but in the moments that would follow. Once the adrenaline wears off and the doctors tell you that you're going to make it, you start to acutely feel the effects of bullets ripping through muscles and pulverizing bone. I felt pain everywhere where lead went through my thumb or through my cheek. For months, it was like I had headaches through my body, a relentless and deep throbbing I didn't know you could feel in your leg or your hand. Every time I had to go to physical therapy and put weight on my leg or break through the scar tissue in my thumb, it hurt like hell. I realized I was scared of having to go through that process again, maybe even more so than dying. But as my rehab continued, I also came to understand another important truth. I wasn't comfortable being scared. That might sound like an obvious thing to say, but I think it's actually what makes me unique. Most people are extremely comfortable with their fears, afraid of flying, stay off of planes, afraid of sharks, don't go snorkeling on your Caribbean vacation, afraid of failure, well then don't even try. A lot of people live their entire lives that way. Not me. I hated being scared. I hated looking over my shoulder. I couldn't stand the idea of staying off the block till things cooled down to me. Hiding would have almost been worse than getting shot. In some ways, the physical pain I endured was my friend. It pushed me further than most people are willing to go. Trust me, when you get hurt that bad, there's a shift. You want to approach the problem instead of run from it, which is exactly what I did. After several weeks in rehab, I went back to my grandmother's house in Queens, literally back to the scene of the crime. That in itself was a big step for me psychologically. The easy, hell, the sensible thing would have been to move far away, a place where no one except my closest friends would know how to find me. It didn't have to be far in terms of mileage. I could have moved to the Bronx or Staten Island, and it would have been like going to another country. I was determined not to give in an inch to my fear. I was going to go back to where I wanted to be, which was my grandmother's house. When I left rehab, the doctors told me to start jogging to build up stamina and strength in my injured legs. I was committed to their plan, but almost immediately I hit an obstacle. One morning I took a peek out my grandmother's window and saw someone I didn't recognize in front of her house. To me, he was trying too hard to look inconspicuous and blend in. I was immediately in a very paranoid state, so it could have been nothing, but paranoia sharpens your senses the way an antelope's acute sense of smell can identify a lion from hundreds of yards away. Maybe I was sensing my own predator. I canceled the jog I had planned for the day, and the next day too, after I saw the same guy lurking on the street again. By this point, I was experiencing a lot of confusion, where my heightened senses tipping me off to unseen danger, or was I imagining menace that wasn't really there? I couldn't tell. All I knew for sure was that fear was starting to consume me. I'm going to stop that right there. You already know this book is deep. A lot of books is deep, man. That's why I'm on a new plane, just reading everything I get my hands on. My library is crazy. I'm only here to inspire you guys. You see it, so you already know, man. Let's inspire each other. Read.
I don't know what's gotten into you. What do you listen to? Man, somebody give them pity, cause this shit is pitiful. You ought to tap into the educators. This right now, it's just a demonstrator. I done spent my